The Jordan River appears in Scripture more than 200 times. Nations crossed it, generals followed it, a prophet parted it with his cloak, a general bathed in it 7 times and was healed. And on a winter morning in 1927, a massive earthquake caused the river to stop flowing for over 21 hours, exactly the kind of event described in the book of Joshua. This is the story of the most narratively loaded river in the world. The Jordan is not a grand river by any conventional measure. It runs roughly 250 kilometers from its sources near Mount Hermon down through the Sea of Galilee and into the Dead Sea. In many places, it is narrow enough to toss a stone across. Brown, slow, and sinuous, it is not the kind of river that commands respect at first glance, but its role in the biblical narrative is impossible to overstate. It is a boundary, a crossing, a place of death and of new beginning, and its geography, its hydrology, and even its seismic activity turn out to be extraordinarily consistent with what the biblical accounts describe. Let us start with the most dramatic crossing in the entire Old Testament, Joshua 3. The Israelites, about to enter Canaan after 40 years in the wilderness, are told that the Jordan will be supernaturally stopped when the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant step into its water. Joshua 3:16 says the water piled up in a heap a great distance away at a town called Adam. The crossing then happens on dry ground. Now, the natural skeptical response is, rivers do not stop. But here's what is actually documented. On July 11, 1927, a major earthquake struck the region, magnitude 6.2. The shaking caused the high clay banks of the Jordan near a location called Adamia, the ancient site of Adam, to collapse into the river, completely blocking its flow. British Mandate records documented that the Jordan was blocked for approximately 21 hours before the dam broke. John Garstang, then director of the British School of Archaeology in Jerusalem, recorded this event and noted the parallels to Joshua 3. In 1160 AD, Arab geographer Al-Idrisi also recorded a similar blockage at the same location caused by bank collapse, and earlier Arab sources mention yet another blockage in 1266 AD. This is not a one-time curiosity. It is a documented, repeating geological phenomenon, and it happens at precisely the location the Bible names. Geology does not prove the Joshua account, but it provides a natural mechanism that fits the narrative perfectly, and it does so at the named location. That is a remarkable convergence. Now let us talk about Elijah and Elisha. In 2 Kings 2, the prophet Elijah, about to be taken up to heaven in a whirlwind, strikes the Jordan River with his cloak, and the water divides so the 2 men can cross on dry ground. Elisha then performs the same miracle on his return. The Jordan is functioning here as a symbolic echo of the Exodus, the great crossing of water that defines Israel's story, compressed into a single dramatic gesture. Then there's Naaman, the Syrian military commander, in 2 Kings 5. He comes to the prophet Elisha seeking healing from a skin disease, expecting a dramatic ceremony. Elisha tells him simply to go and wash in the Jordan 7 times. Naaman is initially insulted. Are not the rivers of Damascus better than all the rivers of Israel? He nearly refuses. His servants persuade him to try it. He does, and he is healed. The story is almost comically understated, and it makes a theological point that the Jordan's power was never about the river itself. Then comes the New Testament's most famous Jordan scene, the baptism of Jesus. Matthew 3, Mark 1, Luke 3, and John 1 all reference it. The site traditionally identified with this event is Qasr el-Yahud on the Israeli side and Al-Magtas on the Jordanian side, both in the region of Bethany beyond the Jordan, as John 1:28 specifies. Origen, in the 3rd century AD, confirmed this location in his writings. Byzantine-era churches have been excavated on both sides of the river at this spot. Al-Magtas in Jordan was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2015 based on the physical and historical evidence for its identification. The Jordan today is sadly much diminished. Decades of water diversion have reduced it to a fraction of its historical flow in the lower reaches. but at its northern entry from the Sea of Galilee, it still runs clear and cold. The valley it runs through, the Jordan Rift Valley, part of the same tectonic fault system that runs all the way to East Africa and is geologically one of the most active regions on Earth, which explains both its extraordinary landscape and its recurring earthquakes. A river that stopped for 21 hours in living, documented memory at the exact location the Bible names. A river that shaped the geography of an entire nation's spiritual identity, from Joshua's crossing to Elijah's cloak to the baptism that opened a ministry. The Jordan is small, brown, and unimpressive, and yet every time archaeologists and historians look at it carefully, they find something worth noticing. Next time, we climb the hill that watched Jerusalem burn, and that 3 religions are still watching today.